here. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to take these sleeves that were left over from this thrifted transformation upcycle, whatchamacallit, and I'm going to turn them into a belt, kind of an Obi Belt cummerbund thing. And this one is going to be quick and dirty, so let's do it. So here are my inspiration photos for my Obi Belt cummerbund-esque recreation. So here are the sleeves. They had some really beautiful embroidery on them, and that's what kind of sparked my interest to want to save them. So basically, I'm just kind of hacking them up. I'm going to try and get a rectangular shaped piece for the front, and then I'm cutting it like this because those little extra side pieces are very close to being the shape that I need to wrap around the side of the body to make the tie in the back. So I'm just taking out the lining because we don't really need it, and it was a little bit old and discolored too, so I didn't really want to deal with it or try to repurpose it. And you can see I'm kind of just hacking away at it. So I've layered it so that the good piece, like the good sides are facing each other, and I can see the embroidery through the back. And so I'm just trimming away to sort of get my way closer to a rectangle with saving the embroidery and keeping it all center. Da 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 da, almost there. Now I'm just taking the lining out of the little side pieces. And then we are going to be ready to start sewing. So I made 2 inches at the end there and marked it, and that is the end piece that I'm going to leave open, and then I'm going to sew a really nice curve around the embroidery part and bring it to the other side. And that way, with the open ends, I'll be able to turn it inside right when I'm all finished, and we'll have a finished seam on either side, and then we'll be able to attach the pieces for the side of the belt. So we're just cutting off the excess. Snip, 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 because we don't need it. And here comes one of my favorite parts. Get to turn it inside right. Do, 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 do. Boom. Starting to look like a belt. Cool beans. So I gave it a little bit of a pressing. See how the shape shows off the embroidery really well. And then we've got the side pieces. So you remember I made the opening 2 inches. So I'm measuring about 2.5, so I can allow myself for a little seam allowance there. And so from then, I'm just sort of, angling it down so that I have a nice sort of let the fabric trail off from the main part of the belt. And then hopefully there'll be enough for me to tie it around the back. And the same the other piece, we're just sewing the seam along and leaving the opening at the 2 ends, so we'll be able to turn it inside right. There we go. Lovely. And then of course you do the same thing with the other piece, or the other side. And then we're snipping off the excess fabric, and then here comes the fun part. This one I struggled with a little bit because it's super tiny. If you have any tips on turning things inside right, I'd love to hear them. I have one of those metal things with the loop at the bottom, hook at the top. I do use them sometimes, but I didn't think I need it with this. Okay, there it is. After the fact, not overly helpful. Thank goodness we can speed stuff up. There we go. Beautiful. Give it a little steam, a little press. And then I just kind of tucked it in to see how far I'd have to go so that it would line up nicely with that opening. And then I've just turned the fabric in for the main part of the belt to give it a nice finished edge. I just rolled it in basically like a little hem. And then you just top stitch it. Top stitch, easy peasy. And then do the same thing at the other end. I rolled it in. It was a little bit tight, so I think I had to, I just snipped it off. Just kind of worked it in just to hide the raw edge. And then I'll top stitch. And then, so all these steps are the same thing for the other one, or the other side. And there you go. Now we got a Obi Belt cummerbund fun thing. Ta-da! Yeah, this was a fun, quick one. Thanks again for tuning in. If you want to see more of the before and afters, you can come hang out with me over on Instagram at WALLACE READ. Till next time, see ya!